Around the world, artists are using digital technology to speak their mind. These artists show us that a physical studio is not needed, using the virtual world to question the reality we live in. As part of Power Play, an exhibition championing the African digital art scene, we will explore how these artists create. These are some of their desktops.
My name is Mbagisi Sibanda. I'm a 25-year-old male based here in Bulawayo, Zimbabwe. And what I do is I specialize in design for the most part, because it's what I got introduced to when I got into the industry. I started working signage company that my dad owned. So I started doing design there, from there, and then I started moving up the ladder, basically. I went from signage to advertising, and now I'm back at signage again, but then pulling out to advertising. I've been doing design since 2012. I started doing 3D in late 2015, early 2016, and then I've been on and off with it, and then I started taking it seriously around 2017, 2018, somewhere there. I got into art when I first saw some abstract piece. That's when I started doing a bit of art, here and there, because as a full-time designer, it's really hard to transition to art, but then because you're looking for something refreshing to do, something totally different from all the typography and all the layout that you usually do, I decided to do some art on my own spare time. I'm a quiet guy, introverted. I don't like going out. I read books here and there. I like watching movies. I'm not a serious type of a person. I enjoy my music, especially when I'm working. Yeah, and I love looking at other people's work. New trends in the industry, who's new and who's doing something different. Traditionally, sign making in Zimbabwe and in Bulawayo particularly moved into the digital era later on, like way later on, unlike the rest of the world. Basically, it was all about paint and handwriting everything, like you have to custom design font, you have to make a stencil of some sort, and they used red oxide powder, then write out, print out that font and then make holes into it and then put it against the wall, and then they'd use that oxide powder to kind of make a stencil, and then they'd write on top of it, And then there were guys that he was particularly good. He could sometimes write without the pounds, the stencil, just give him the layout to say, okay, this is what the sign is supposed to look like, and then he'd write it out. They called it sign writing here, traditional sign writing, and then he moved into the digital stuff later on. From what I learned from him was consistency and putting in the hard work. Whatever you do, basically, you just need to put in the work and the hours if you want to get a really good result. So that's just one of the few things that I drew from him. Uniqueness as well. So many things I learned, but these are just a few. I started using the internet around 2014, 2015, somewhere there. That's about 2 or 3 years after I got into this whole design thing. So I used to get some books, PDF books from a guy who used to teach at the university here. He just gave me this huge collection of books on Photoshop particularly. Learning the terms, being new to the industry, I didn't know what a pixel-based thing is, what a vector-based thing is. It just evolved to a whole different level. It just blew up. I wanted to broaden my knowledge and my skills, and that's how I got to doing what I'm doing now. Bulawayo has this rich heritage and culture, basically, because it used to be home to the Ndebele tribe. The Ndebele tribe basically migrated from South Africa in the 1800s, basically. I think it was 1820, something like that. Well, it's quite a long, back in the days of Chaka Zulu, So they came here and they made their home here in Bulawayo. It's a culture-rich city. It produces one of the country's finest musicians, one of the country's finest designers, one of the country's finest artists, one of the country's finest actors, I can say. They all come from Bulawayo, and then they just spread out, to either they go to South Africa or they go to the capital, that's Harare, or, they just make it where they are. The city's connection to art is due to its history. Growing up, I wasn't into art, if I'm to be honest. I wanted to play sport. I was a very good cricket player, so I wanted to take that as a career. But then what happened, and now here I am. Early into my 20s, I started to be aware like, oh, okay, so our city has this much cultural heritage, and it's rich in culture, and it's a cultural hub. It invites many tourists. We've got so much to offer, so much to show the world. I'm learning now, still learning new stuff, and yeah, there's a long way to go. For sure. And given that I've started out in art now, there's much more to do. I thought, wow, I've never done anything like this before on this scale, anyway, where, the whole world would literally have to see what I'm doing. It was challenging and it was exciting at the same time. I felt like, okay, let me actually, get into it and see what I can do and what I can come up with. And since it's art, I thought I could just go crazy and do something totally different without necessarily paying attention to rules, because you see, design is rules. It's a whole different world. I can pay attention to detail. Of course, you have to pay attention to detail as an artist, but I feel I can express myself freely. So yeah, it's still new to me, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. What inspired this thing here? There's people, you see, there's like a colony of some sort there, and then there's a giant, there's a person in a box, then there's two heads, and then there's pillars. So basically, this is more or less, to me, it was digital society of some sort. It was a society that lived in a digital age. The two heads represent some kind of entity, like a deity of some sort, like something to be worshipped, like a god. The person inside is trapped in this box that's being fed by these digital gods. The people outside are looking at it and they're wondering, like, what, So the halo represents innocence, more or less, right? There's this innocence, and then there's curiosity. That's the question mark. It's like a cage. It's like a trap. It's like this person is trapped inside. They want a connection, but they can't leave that box because they're trapped in this digital space, in this space where, there's no connection, there's no interaction with the human world, with the outside world. They're just trapped in their own little world, and it's depressing because, yeah, they can't get out of it. And then there's pillars here, there's binaries. I just used binaries, ones and zeros, just to create the pillars, to show that it's the structure of the digital age. Yeah, that's what inspired the whole concept. It's a bit of me. I'm a bit of both, outside the box and I'm inside the box at the same time. I think everybody's in the box to some extent. Before I created it, I was like, what do I face on a daily basis with social media, with the internet? What problems does it bring to me on a social level? Like, how does it affect me on a psychological level as well? Many people are trapped. There's people out there that are legitimately trapped in this world, and they can't get out of it. It's where they find affirmation, I guess. It's where they feel accepted, but then at the same time they want to connect with the outside world so much, but they can't because the internet, it has a grip on them. We're gonna experience the internet at I'd like to say, deeper and more intimate level, where artificial intelligence and augmented reality, the whole user experience is just going to change totally. The way we interact with our phones and devices now, the way we interact with content now is going to change altogether. The way the world consumes content now is going to be different 5 years from now, It's becoming more and more part of our lives on a daily basis. It's something that's inevitable. We can't avoid it at all. It's just become part of our world. We're becoming part of the internet, and the internet is becoming part of us as well. So this is the first concept that I had initially, the very first mock-up that I came up with. The whole isolation thing, this guy's alone in the dark, and there's, a human figure on the background. Now with this, it's vice versa, because this guy sitting on the laptop is so focused, so immersed into what he's doing. He's consuming so much content that he's paying a blind eye to this guy here. So this guy is reaching out his hand, basically, wanting a connection. Yeah, so this was the first idea that I had, and then thought of, okay, how best to communicate it in a way that's relatable. This is subtle. I like the subtlety, but with this one, I had to quickly run away from it because, well, it was going to take a lot of time to create and that sort of a thing. I just got into my head and said, okay, let me just bring out what I'm seeing, how I feel about the whole internet thing. How can I make it relatable? And coming from a background, designer background, it's pretty much, it's not simple, but it's doable. It has improved connectivity so much, but I feel it has also created fragments of society, I guess. There's a huge disconnect. There's no social interaction as much as it was as it was back in the day. Well, most of my work revolves around what I do, that is design. Yeah, so see, this here I did for Easter. I just modeled this whole room, the tomb, I put a cross way outside there, and then the shadow is a cross. It was just experimental for me, I wanted to test displacement shaders, how to use the displacement shaders to create this rock texture type feel, I wanted to do a bit of color grading. I think to me it was more experimental. When I sent it to some people, that understand this whole Easter stuff and Christian stuff deeper than I do, they said it's different, They're like, I can't even remember the explanation they gave me. They said it's a unique concept. It's never been there before. So this is one of the first renders I did of a car. I'm still looking for this model. model. God knows where it is this year. This is my favorite piece to date because I got the car shader right, I think. This is what I did recently, not too long ago. Vehicles are really complex because the shaders have to be true to life. And then there's this comp here. I love this comp. It's one of my favorite pieces. Ironically, what happened was I was testing out the volumetrics. Yeah, and then it led to this, Right now, I'm trying to find myself into this whole digital art space. This was done by Panoply, by a guy called Simon Allmetal, He's my biggest inspiration. So this is, his art. This is the type of art I want to do one day. And then, of course, they did this here as well. So I have a series coming up. I don't know what to call it yet, I want to explore alter egos and inner devils. So basically, I want to take it further. I want to create a series of some sort, Maintain the same skull concept, but take it further, use different elements. Maybe add in some snakes, some horns, maybe some wings, some crows, the Grim Reaper's X, something like that. Some people thought it was Illuminati, but yeah, well. So yeah, this is my upcoming series. I'll post it, I'll share it online once I'm done, Like I said, I like cars and I like hard surface stuff. I like the shade on this pipe though. It's really nice. Some interior renders. This was one of my first projects when I was starting out. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on. Now that I'm getting into it even more, I'm trying to put in as much work as I possibly can. And then this is my first renders, yeah. Yeah, this is me very early in the game, It's just, when I look at this such stuff, I really, laugh for myself sometimes. I'm like, wow, man, Firstly, I'd say work on the models look okay, they're not bad, but then I'd say work on your lighting. Work on your lighting a lot and work on your modeling a lot, because you see this thing here, what's it called, reception table. It looks okay, but it's not appealing. You get it? So I'd say improve on your modeling. I'd say improve on your lighting, but then I'd also tell you that you've got a lot of potential. If you don't try something new, you'll never know what you can and what you cannot do. I've been doing quite a lot of architectural stuff for quite some time now, and I can safely say I'm confident in my skills. I want to try it now. What I want to do is I want to get into learn new softwares and new processes, because I want to get into the whole motion graphics field and the whole video field. For me, it's improving means learning something new, doing something different on a daily basis. It helps me improve my workflow. It helps me improve my thought process. It helps me improve my execution as well. Sometimes I like to go back on my old work and use the new knowledge that I've acquired, but I usually like to start fresh. What I like about this particular material is I can go in here and add more shaders and change their blend modes without necessarily having to load in a new image. So it's all within the software, So I can change my type of noise to anything that I want. I can just layer these noises, layer them until I get a result that I like, as opposed to loading in an image texture where if I want to change the look and feel of this texture, all I have to do now is I have to load in a new image and a new image and a new image. So yeah, it's kind of slow. It's not really intuitive. This here is pretty straightforward, It's simple, it's light. So yeah, I get textures, a lot of them. I have quite a lot of them. They're just all over the machine and all over the place. I usually like collaborating with people because there's some people that are faster than me at doing certain things. But this is for like when you're doing an actual project, like maybe a house project or something. You get someone who can model a car faster than you can. Then you can get someone who can model model furniture faster than you can, or maybe because you're working on something and you don't have the time to put that all into your plate, you just give it to someone. That's how I prefer to work. But if I can't do that, I usually go online and just go on, and look for some models that I can use. It's hard to find good models online that are free. I want to have an agency since I've been working in advertising and signage for so long now. I want to have an agency that will disrupt the industry in my country, because right now everything is pretty much on the same level, there isn't much going on. So yeah, I just want to push innovation and creativity to a whole new level in the country. Of course, I can't do it alone. I want my art career basically, because it's something new. So I think I want to take it on full time, maybe in the near future. I just want it to grow, and I want it to reach as many people as it possibly can. And I want to maybe be able to communicate through my work, just to get a message out there and stand for something.